the viewer questions, guys, get on Reddit, get on Twitter, use hashtag SC2Remax on Twitter to ask your questions. We've been running a little bit longer than usual, so we'll try to make it quick. We're also going to have the Patreon call-ins, and we'll see where that takes us. Let's start.
desRow, sorry to interrupt you. I
Yes?
just have a final question about the Lycan League. Like, do you think base trade or various tournaments are gonna keep this amount of viewers in Legacy of the Void? How do you think? Like, how long do you think the hype is gonna last as far as viewer counts go?
That's actually a very good question. Maybe that's something that we can ask our audience next week with a straw poll or something. But what? I mean, like it. I'm one person. I'm not all the people. And so far, my predictions with Legacy have been pretty shit. But I don't know, man. It feels fresh. It feels new. It feels more micro intensive. Of course, once the Swarmos change goes live for Heart of the Swarm, and the big tournaments like WCS, the qualifiers, the storylines start happening, then the viewership might swift and change a little bit. But for now, I see it keeping pretty strong. But it comes down to how many people are streaming. Like we have like the Muslim, Parting, HuK, all those people, they need to practice for the qualifiers. So as soon as they switch or as soon as they stop streaming, will the desRows and Neuros and Avillos of this world be able to keep the Legacy of the Void viewership alive? And that question, my friend, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So let's go into the questions on the Reddit thread, unless you guys disagree with what I said, but...
But Bly and QXC was in the finals. It's not like Parting was in the finals.
Well, like my point I said, is just novelty and excitement and the unexpected happening that people just can't predict how a battle will turn based on how many cyclones you make.
Okay.
But let's go to the Reddit questions. Can you ask Morrow about his upcoming career as a professional hashtag passion caster?
Well, that was not a one-time thing, but it's probably not something that we're gonna do that often. Maybe one time a month or something. We had a ton of fun though, casting like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is not something that you plan on doing?
No, not that much. Cause like the more often we do it, then it's not gonna be fun anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a gimmick.
Oh, it's a cash grab.
Cash
So
grab.
basically, like you guys, like when anyone called out, you guys are like turning out to be those monsters. You've become you've become
hype
what
is
you
over,
hate.
I fucking go to Overwatch, man.
Yeah. So that's the first question. To HuK and Morrow, have you either of you played HUTs since the release of Legacy? Well, that guy's not a fucking Morrow fan because he didn't know you were at Copenhagen. But I know it has been said that if you miss just 1 week of HUTs, there's a struggle for the first few days to regain your skill. Any concerns with getting ready for upcoming Art of the Swarm tournament, basically WCS qualifier?
I think that's not an issue because missing 1 week of HOTS is like missing 1 week of StarCraft 2, where this is like you're not missing StarCraft 2, you're just missing HOTS. So like all the mechanics that you're still practicing on a day-to-day basis, like it's just more like if I don't play StarCraft 2 in general for like a week, I feel like really slow. Your hands and fingers don't like cooperate as much. You just feel like really out of place. But if I went back and if I played Legacy of the Void for a week and I went back to Heart of the Swarm, there might be like a few things I mess up on, like the warp ins. I would be like a little scared to warp in near any unit ever, or like stuff like
You
that.
just never
But
take a third base. You just
yeah,
sit
like,
there.
but it would take maybe like a day or something, and then you'd be pretty okay, I would imagine,
I
on
think it's
playing Hearts of the
actually,
Swarm.
I think it's actually like good for you in a way. You know how like taking a break of StarCraft kind of like refreshes your mind.
Yeah, yeah, because
And
when you
it,
play so much HOTS, you get
yeah,
like stuck in a mindset like I gotta do this or I'm gonna die to that and blah blah blah. But when you like like you said, you refresh your mind and you get like more creative and you think like, why can I carry this over maybe or
yeah, and your mechanics still stay up to date because you're still practicing. I think it might even have a positive effect on your Heart of the Swarm experience.
Like, imagine what I could do when a fucking Cyclone doesn't show up in my base every game.
Oh, I have so many units.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I kinda agree with HuK.
Okay. Next question. After seeing Apollo host the expert panel at WCS and not cast at all, and the fact that Red Eye left, do you guys think Apollo would be a good fit to fill his shoes at the detriment of less Apollo casting? Chris.
I've never seen him host on stage. There's two different kinds of hosts. There's one that does like the analyst disc, where we saw Apollo do it, and before that I think it was Froden at an event, and they're both very good at that. But hosting right in front of the crowd and interviewing players and stuff, that's kind of different. It's hard to say. He's a very good speaker. I don't know. I would always prefer him to be casting and doing what he's currently doing than a host. I think that's more beneficial in almost every way for every StarCraft 2 fan than just interviewing players and doing introductions and stuff.
But don't
Yeah.
you think the final had the perfect duo cast, like Nathanius and Kalaris?
I didn't watch the finals, so
Okay.
I don't know. I even then Paulo's very good on the analyst desk. He's better at that than he would be on stage hosting, in my opinion.
Okay.
Can I add something?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, have you guys seen like the hype up videos that Apollo speech in? If that makes sense. Like normally Red Eye does the ESL videos, right?
Mhm.
Coming this summer, ESL, WCS, epic. And now Apollo did it, but I thought it was a bit underwhelming, and I feel like this goes the same for him as a host. I think he's white. Like I think almost everyone considers him like the best caster, like just only caster, and he's like super strong analytical. But I don't think hosting is his strongest point. I think he could do it very well, and I even think he did the video quite well. But I think he would play more into his strengths on the analyst desk or as a caster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's definitely something that it's going to take time for him to adjust if he wants to commit to that position. But otherwise, I agree with you. To HuK, why do you keep stream sniping Destiny? Are you literally trying to kill esports?
I just search, man. That's it.
There's only like 50 people playing Legacy, man. Like it's so
Yeah,
hard
like-
to like.
Yeah, it's very few. It's crazy. They haven't announced, by the way, when the next wave will be. So hold on to your horses,
I
guys.
think it's like it's a week or bi-weekly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. How strong are gateway all-ins with the Legacy of the Void changes? To Chris.
I'm getting a call. 1 sec.
Well, personally, obviously I haven't played maybe like the best players in the beta, but a good 5-gate all-in versus Protoss or versus Zerg has been a lot of fun. Also 2-base blink. You can keep your economy going until like 12 minutes on 2-base if you don't make too many probes. But Chris, have you tried gateway all-ins?
I have. They work sometimes, but in general, if they play very standard, they won't work.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
Moving
is
on.
that with like adepts or no? Adepts?
No, just like
Never
Blink
make
or
a fucking adept ever, or you just lose the game.
yeah, Sentry
Period.
Stalker or
So
like
you still don't
Blink
believe
Stalker.
that you can like go into the third, fucking harass, you
They're
throw the
horrible,
shadows
man.
to the natural,
They're so horrible.
bounce back and forth,
Yeah.
I think,
sick damage.
Maybe you should have tried them against Winter. We'll see.
All right. Morrow, yesterday on stream you briefly explained that tanks are dead now in TVT. Can you elaborate, please?
I don't remember saying that. I remember saying that tanks are kind of fading out in general. Yeah, like you needing to spread out more and more thin all the time. Like you only see tanks really in Terran versus Terran in Harder to Swarm, and that's because they wreck bio. But the fucking yeah, I'm like it's hard to pinpoint why the tank is disappearing. It's not good enough anymore. It's too immobile. It just kind of sucks in my opinion.
Have you tried lifting it with the minivac? You know that's possible, right?
Yeah, I do not know that's possible. Like I don't remember I don't remember saying that tanks are dead in that.
Okay.
But I think they're like slipping away a bit. I think the medevac change is kind of stupid. How you can pick up siege tanks. I don't like that a lot, to be honest.
Okay.
And the cool
I
dynamic
remember
of the
saying
tank.
Banshee openings are dead. Maybe you heard me wrong, but that's because of the Cyclone.
Okay.
I think a cool dynamic of the tank is that it has to siege up, and I think making the medevac lifted just kind of makes it a drop-down AoE unit,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
I think either it's too strong or too weak, in my opinion. Or
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
Okay. David Kim mentioned that something we can expect from the balance and game design team is that they will communicate with us more often in the future. How would you like this interaction to happen? Is it enough if they explain their ideas and decision-making process in a little more detail, or should they even make explanatory video or have regular community show appearances? What do you think is the realistic and what do you wish would happen? To start it off personally, I think what they do with Hearthstone and Heroes, where they have their little like streaming office that some of you might have seen. They added for StarCraft during Christmas. They were doing arcade maps. They use it every time for Hearthstone and Heroes whenever they have like they preview some of the changes and they talk through it. I think if they used that office and showed us like the build they use like within Blizzard with like all the people, if they showed us that and talked to us then in a like 1 hour type of stream, I think that'd be like the best. But do they have the manpower? Do they have the time? Do they have the planning? That's another question. Chris, what are your thoughts?
I think it'd be nice. I'd be really disappointed if they said that and then like David Kim just wrote like 2 more sentences on his little BattleNet updates. In general, it's a hard line to walk because every pro gamer is very biased, and every pro gamer only plays one race, and every pro gamer wants their one race to be stronger than the other two. So you're going to have all the Protoss players complaining about this, and all the Terran players complaining about that, and Zerg obviously something different. I always thought it would be really nice if they got a very core amount of pro gamers that could give actual good feedback. Listening to everybody is too hard, but if they could pick a select few, like maybe like 1 to 8 pro gamers to give advice on like where they feel like the game is, but selecting those pro gamers is really hard, and listening to them is really hard. Because most pro gamers, to be honest, are almost exactly the same as the community, as in like general players, where they just bitch and complain about why their race is the weakest and why it's shitty, including most people on this call, myself included. It's just
excluded, by the way.
it's just
So that
everybody's
would leave you guys very biased.
everybody's just very biased. So I don't know. It's really hard to, like I always say this, it's really hard to balance an RTS compared to other games because everybody only identifies with their perspective and their side. So I don't know. I think extensive testing, having a longer beta is already 2 really good steps. Having pro gamers play it and give back feedback is great. And then it's just up to Blizzard, in my opinion, for the most part.
Okay. Why did Blizzard even bother giving Legacy of the Void beta invites to people like DJ Wheat and GP who literally played it for an hour on the first day?
It's to
Publicity.
create hype. Like they grab an audience that pro gamers can't grab. So you get like these big community guys from outside of StarCraft to actually look at StarCraft. So they might actually try the game. They might have never seen StarCraft before. It's a very good idea to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would also like to mention that the beta is actually very long. I think they announced that they will release it in March next year, right? The actual game, like at BlizzCon. So the beta period is huge. So I really hope they don't bitch around with changes. I hope they try some like stupid shit and like big changes just because they have time to fix it and revert it and try something else. Because I feel like if we're just going to try to like balance the game as well as we can from here on by just tweaking stats, we're going to end up with a shitty game. Well, if we from now on just make like a lot of like interesting ideas, try to make those work, try to redesign some things, like actual like break down some of the core concepts of the game, we could actually like have an insanely fun game by the time the game gets released. If we just keep like balancing everything to make the balance as close as possible until it released, I think the game will be kind of boring and already figured out by the time it gets released.
It's very, very solid point. Design changes are always the most exciting rather than value changes.
Yeah.
So you're seeing like the Colossus lose 20% damage is Probably the least exciting thing I've seen about StarCraft in a long time. What else do we have? To everyone, thoughts on the new minimap? Morrow.
It sucks. I
Yeah?
can't
It
see
sucks.
It
shit.
sucks. It's so
Change
fucking
it
bad.
back.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah, for once I had a good analogy. It's like the printer ran out of ink. It's like so pale for like no reason, and sometimes like the fucking geysers look brighter than the rest. Like why the
Yeah.
geysers?
The thing is though, like when you're streaming, right?
Yeah.
And a drop happens, and all your viewers are like, "What the fuck, man? Why didn't you see that drop?" You just
Yeah.
go, "Well, I was looking at the minimap. I just like the colors, man."
Yeah, it's very tricky. I've casted my tournament, and sometimes when the player picks orange and you play on the sand map, you literally can't see anything. So like it makes being at the BC really hard. What else? Do you think that Blizz should alter the Zealot leg speed design? Because I think it is bad. Chris.
I think it's fine.
But like
I would
compared to Brood
prefer
War, yeah.
I would prefer to have Brood War Zealots where they're just a lot faster and they catch up on a consistent basis instead of charging.
Mhm.
But I think Blizzard doesn't want to exactly take what was from Brood War. You know, they have a unit from Brood War, they want to change it a little bit,
Yeah.
and they don't really want to like. Everybody always is like, let's just make it like Brood War. Let's just make it like Brood War. Let's just make it like Brood War. And Blizzard very much doesn't want to just make it like Brood War, so they want to change it at least a little bit. I think it's fine though. Charge is fine.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
it's like a
I-
double-edged sword though, because sometimes your shit charged forward loses the charge, and then you kind of shit out
Yeah.
of luck.
There's a hold position button as well you can use.
And
desRow.
you can
Just a quick
disable
tip.
the autocast as
Oh.
well.
Yeah. All right. How could the Ghost be changed to be more than the Templar counter? Will the Ghost be viable as a harass unit with nukes because of there being more bases in the late game? For Mo.
Not sure if nuke is gonna be more effective or not. That's really hard to tell. What they could do to make the ghosts more useful is like buff the snipe. But like what I would like to see is the ghost having like a bit weaker attack, maybe cost one more supply, and get like a completely new spell that deals AoE damage or like reduces damage armor in AoE that your opponent can dodge. Like give me a fucking grenade, man. That's what I want.
All right,
Sick,
Mo, what's a grenade? All right. What do you? Why do you think the proposed Widowmine change never went through? This is the reduction in plus shield damage that was added to counter another Widowmine nerf that was rolled back. Chris, why do you think that
I have
changed?
no fucking idea why this change didn't go through.
They
It
never
should've.
said anything.
It should have went
Yeah.
through, but
I
it
thi-
didn't.
I
don't
think
know why.
like some people were saying, well, maybe if we change the maps, and then the maps were changed, and the problem was still bad, right?
Yeah. The Widowmine definitely needs a nerf. It needs to be changed.
It should
I
be the
think,
way
I
it
think
was
the
in
only
the
reason
start.
they kept it was because the win ratios were looking good.
Yeah, but the win ratio that looks good with a boring matchup. I mean, like, do you want
Yeah, I
viewers?
think-
or?
Yeah, but like Harder Swarm is almost over.
No, that's not true.
It'll go until November, man. There's two
It's
more
like
seasons of
11 or
WCS.
12 months left to fight this farm.
So,
Yeah,
but
like
you know
11 months.
Blizzard, at max they're gonna put out one patch.
Yeah,
They're
but-
patching like this week, right? So you think we're gonna go 10 months
I'm-
without a patch?
In Harder Swarm.
Yeah.
Outside of Swarm host? No, I don't
Yeah.
think so. I
think
they're
the
fine
Widowmine-
with PvP.
It's a horrible unit because it's almost always cost effective. Even if you drop one and they have to pull their whole mineral line, boom, right there, it's almost cost effective. You know? And then worst case is it actually kills something, still cost effective.
Needs to change back to the way it was in the starter fight of the Swarm, where it was good against Lings and Banelings, but not against probes.
Yes.
The problem with that is that Protoss could go like High Templar, or they could go Colossus, and
That's so
that
much
was
But that's
that is
not-
so much better than what it is now. So much
yeah,
better.
but the thing is, Protoss was a bit too strong then.
But
mean,
Can't you
we,
like
but
buff
the
other
matchup was
stuff,
more
like
interesting.
make EMP better or something, or
it
make
would make
fighting better?
it would make the matchup more interesting.
Didn't they buff the ghosts? Like, it was cheaper to
Insanely.
Yeah, they
make.
removed
They
the
buffed it
upgrade.
insanely.
Yeah. Did they make it cheaper in minerals, like 100, 150 now, or?
No, like they removed the energy upgrade, so you have
Okay.
it by default.
So it's still 200, 100.
Yes.
Okay.
Like that's the only thing Terran got.
Well, nerf Widowmine, buff Ghost, and then fucking give us back Templar opening, because it's like
Yeah.
disgustingly boring. It's like, oh, I'm
Well,
opening.
ghosts are already like amazing against Protoss. I don't know why you would want to buff them.
Well, because you guys were dying like to two base like Templar, Archon, all ins and shit like that. So
And the problem was like we didn't know, like there was so much Protoss could do, and having the problem of figuring out if it's High Templar or Storm or the switching back to Storm or whatever. It like it was pretty hard.
yeah,
Like,
because
of
you
course,
guys
the
never
matchup-
dropped
the
Widow
matchup was
Mines.
playable. It wasn't like super imbalanced. I'm
Yeah,
just
but
saying that
You
I
guys
think
never.
Blizzard are fine with having it the way it is now, even though it's uninteresting. I think they just want to keep the balance, like
but-
the win ratios.
Yeah, you guys didn't know what we were doing because you never opened Factory because Widow Mines were in OP. So like you never opened Alien, you never opened Factory, so you never poked inside the Protoss main
Yeah,
to
so
see.
if you nerf with the mines, we're not gonna go factory again, just like before. Like things are just gonna go back to the way they were before.
Isn't like a big part of the Widowmine build also like having a safe standard build that kind of allows you to defend everything as Terran? Isn't that like part of the reason why it's so good?
It seems
Or
like the
did I
tables have
misread
turned.
it?
Yeah, it is kind of safe. I wouldn't say it's completely safe. There's stuff like when you leave your base with the mines and stuff, like an oracle could come in and kill you.
Yeah, but that's like
Stuff like
ridiculous.
or-
You move
that's,
your army outside your base and then they counterattack. You might take damage. Yeah, of course. Every
No,
race
you might
works that
actually
way.
lose the game actually.
But that's the same thing with Protoss. Protoss goes like one Stargate, makes an Oracle, and they have one Stalker at home, and you fly in with a medevac.
No,
Yeah.
but the oracle comes quicker than the Widowmine drop. I'm just saying that's like you can't lose with that build. It's false to say that it's completely safe. I would say a 3 racks build is more safe than opening with a factory.
But you still have safe options.
Like that build is not even that popular anymore because Protoss players are countering it
Okay.
like blindly. So
I just think the Widowmine should have been nerfed and changed in a way. I just never see a Widowmine not cost effective. Or it's like very, very rare.
yeah, maybe
Even if the
Okay.
Protoss does everything it's supposed to and loses like one probe or no probes, it's
Yeah,
still
but-
almost worth it.
yeah, but yet the balance is like 50%, right?
Yeah, but it's 50% in a very stale matchup that like you know what's happening. Like I can go take a shit, come back 10 minutes later and be like, okay, they're in the mid game. They like
But
the same
win
army
rate is gonna be
compositions.
incredibly good for Protoss once the Widowmine gets changed, right? Because not only do they have a lot easier time early game, like they have 2 tech paths you can choose from, which Terran has to like scout for like a lot. And I know it's not a reason not to change it, but I feel like Terran should be compensated because if with the insane imbalanced super strong Widowmine, if the win rates are 50-50, then the win rates are going to be tilted a lot in Protoss' favor if the Widowmine is removed, right? Or like the nerfed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so like they need to be compensated, and it's very hard to do that without messing up. I
Well,
think.
I guess we can agree here that if Blizzard wants to patch Heart of the Swarm one more time before Legacy is released, that the Widowmine and the Protoss versus Terran matchup needs to be addressed to be more dynamic and fair on both sides so that it's more interesting to watch Morrow. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, like if they actually were gonna patch it a lot, but they don't do that.
Well,
Like they should just fucking leave Heart of the Swarm alone, fix the Swarm host. That's big enough a problem. Like people aren't whining about.
yeah, well, that's
Widowmines
already
or TVP
happened. so-
being uninteresting. I think it's a pretty
What?
interesting matchup compared to CVP. I don't think it's a huge problem that Protoss going Colossus every game. Like it's not as big of a problem as Swarm hosts are, in my opinion.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like they should nerf Widowmines for Legacy of the Void because, you know, you don't have Colossus, right? So there's no reason for Widowmines being that strong against Protoss, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so no more questions on Reddit. Let's try to get a few questions from Twitter so that the people that took the time to write something get rewarded. Uh, yeah, okay. Which out of the new units is your favorite? So we'll just do one unit per person. HuK.
What's my favorite unit is Protoss?
Yes.
Disruptor.
No. Just like if you had to pick like from any race, just one. Like let's say like you played Terran or Zerg. Like which one do you like? You're like, oh my god, this is brilliant. I like it.
I like the Ravager. I think it's a good, fun unit that is going to be, it's like well designed.
Okay.
So that.
Okay. What about you, Morrow?
I like uh, I like the disruptor, even though it's more like I like the idea of moving away from Colossus to something else. That's my favorite part about Legacy of the Void.
Okay. What about you, Jona?
I really like the Adept. It's a fantastic. No, fuck off. I don't know. Like I thought I was gonna love the Lurker, but every time I make it, it's just kind of underwhelming. I really like the Disruptor actually. It's fun as fuck to play against it. Honestly, like it destroys everything if it goes wrong, but it's fun to like have to move your army around a Zerg for once. Like I really enjoy PvZ. Like outside of like winning or losing, I really enjoy PvZ where it's not about bashing your fucking army into force fields till your head starts bleeding. It's like you're actually like dynamically moving around, engaging, targeting stuff. And maybe I'm doing so because I'm like already winning and I have free time, but I like it a lot. I really like the Disruptor.
Mm-hmm. I think the Cyclone has like really nice potential if it's tweaked a little. I think turning off and on the lock on so that you don't waste it on like the meat like the zealots and so on. I think it's a nice addition to like the bio as well. Obviously, right now it's really strong and it can be a little stupid like chasing everything down. But having something for Terran to dump their gas other than ghosts, it seems cool.
So you would like it to be a core unit?
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Do you like the idea of having it have a lease range where it needs to function in a way that it actually has to kite while being watched? You know how Muta versus Phoenix works when Phoenix doesn't have range, where if the Phoenix player controls really well, the Muta doesn't hit, but the Muta player can play around with moving forward and backward, and that way damaging the unit. I really wish the Cyclone would kind of work in a way like that, where if the Cyclone player is really like watching it and like playing really well, it will take some damage, but not a lot, and you will deal a lot of damage. But if the Cyclone player is not paying attention, the other player just kind of rolls over the unit. Like that would be a really cool unit in my opinion.
I think that'd be a good idea. Having it actually being, because like right now, doesn't it fucking auto lock too?
It auto locks. You can go like across the map and it's still shooting everything.
Yeah.
It's so like, and you don't need vision either, which is like the most weird thing to me. Like it locks onto a target. The target is on high ground. You're like 3 low grounds below it, and it's still like waving at it. I don't understand.
Yeah, I think it should lose to vision. I heard that it also kills the Dark Templar.
Yes, it does. I was about to say that. It does kill even if you like if it moves outside scan range. It just doesn't like a lot of it doesn't make sense. I think it has to have shorter range. It can't be auto cast lock on. Like you at least have to click a fucking button or something.
No, that's so stupid because Terran is actually extremely hard to micro.
Okay.
Like if you have 10 of those things, you have to click. You realize you have to click 10 times.
Oh,
Different
oh, wow.
No, but
Easy there, Morrow.
no, you guys are fucking retarded.
Think about force field, man.
I think the autocast is not that bad because when you have like a big army of the things, they're gonna autocast on like shitty units that you don't even want to target anyway. So I feel like with the autocast, there's merits and also like disadvantages. I feel like it's not a problem actually.
I can see why you're losing your Protoss games now on ladder, Morrow.
No, but you realize, like in a late game fight, if you have it as a core unit, as desRow says, you really want to fucking target different units because you can't like click it everything on every same unit.
Like, what do you think every time Protoss has to force field everything? Have to storm everything.
You have to,
Colossus.
like, you can't target the same unit. You have to spread it out, otherwise you're overkilling, right? So you have to click every time on different units.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you have like all the fucking disruptor splitting, and you gotta like EMP and all this stuff. You realize like Ternis has a lot of stuff to do. We don't want to sit and like, oh, Cyclone lock on, target 1, target 2, target 3, target 4, target 5. Like that's super
That's
lame
what micro is, though.
No,
What do you-
it's
like
not micro
Protoss
to
has to
just
click
sit and
force field every
spam.
time. They gotta hallucinate every
Yeah, but
time. They
that's
gotta
a
storm
fucking-
every time. They gotta blink every stalker.
Like,
Every
that's
race
an
has to do
ability.
this.
Yeah, but you
besides Surge.
don't have to target fire with every unit individually. Like, that's
But is he
basically
gonna only
what you're.
have cyclones? If I
That's
had
what- well-
only stalkers, I gotta blink every stalker.
Yeah, but you don't
It's
have
not
to
on
target
autocast when
fire.
it runs out of shield.
Yeah, but it's
No, but that's
different.
like
though.
a real
you don't have
ability,
to
not
target
like a
fire
fucking-
with every
Oh,
starter.
blink's not a real
starter.
ability.
No, listen.
No, I'm
like,
saying
when you
Blink
start
is a real
fight,
ability.
for
Lock on,
a fight to
lock
start
on
between
is
two units.
it's supposed to like add damage. Like the Warhound was. That was also auto cast. But like just mindlessly spamming like fucking
does
the
the
same
Cyclone, like,
ability
how
over
good
and
is the
over and
Cyclone
over, it's
without
not
the
real
ability?
micro.
It's still very good without the lock.
So the idea is that like it fights regularly without the ability, but if you want to use the lock on, you can, but you have to use it manually, right?
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable.
I think that's actually pretty fair. Like, so in a big fight, you just would let A move them, and they would do an okay job. And in
Yeah.
small micro battles, you use the lock on thing to do abusive kite shit, but
if
actually
you
have to
want a
micro it.
micro, you have
Yeah.
to micro it.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's
Yeah,
actually
but
fair.
people like I'm already.
I'm sorry you
turning-
got a micro now, Morrow.
I'm.
but you
I'm
gotta
already,
accept it.
I'm already
At some
turning
point.
it off in early game.
Oh, really? But when do you
But
turn
then
it
what
on?
the f-
I don't turn it off in later game because doing that shit is actually just
Yeah, but
fucking ridiculous.
yeah, but then you just end up
Yeah.
wasting it on Zods, though. So like the smarter, like the Koreans, they'll just turn it off forever, man.
But I don't want to run in 5 range of the fucking ranged units in the back and lock onto them because then I die to the zealots. So I have to lock onto the zealots anyway.
That makes sense. But okay, that yeah.
Like you couldn't use like 10 cyclones kiting a roach army the way you can right now. You basically A move and they lock on and then you run away, right? You couldn't do that here because then you would have to like
Yeah, but-
click C to lock on and then click on 10 different roaches and click
Yeah,
C
they
between
should
every
get a-
time and then run away.
Yeah, they should get a rework in their way they work. They should probably be slightly stronger in like basic attacking, because they get a huge hit to their fucking kite thing, right? The kite thing is going to be a lot worse because the leash range is going to be shorter, and you need to target it. So the auto attack, like the regular fighting ability of the thing, should be more powerful, so you don't have to always target them in big fights. And if you do target them, you get a huge reward for it, but it's insanely difficult.
I mean, I wouldn't say insanely difficult. He has
Well,
to
I
click
mean,
it once.
if you're getting stormed and you have to split your bio, but you also have cyclones and you have to target them, I mean that's. I think
It's not an empty argument, guys. Fucking Twitch chat. Like imagine if you had to attack every time a phoenix attacks every single individual phoenix, and then it starts shooting, right? So you're in range of the Mutalisk. You have to fucking attack 10 times at the same time and then run away. Imagine how hard that would be. Like, you
But
would lose.
those are two very different things. Two very like comparing a phoenix to a cyclone is two very different things.
Like,
if my
both units
phoenixes
are
were
kiting
like
and
3-shotting
running away.
mutalisk, I would gladly click every fucking mutalisk in the world.
Yeah, but like I think that ability it's too strong. I would rather have it nerfed rather than making it a brain dead APM like sync.
Oh, by the way, guys, can you turn on the stream real quick? Someone on Twitter sent us a screenshot of saying force field is hard micro, and then
Like
we have.
this reminds me.
That's
I
the
haven't
HuK's
started
game, by the
against-
way, versus Moon and DreamHack 2012.
I'm saying
Like
that
this,
you have
this
to actually
reminds me
click.
of when people were talking about spamming infested Terrans or spamming snipe, saying, "Oh, but if you're good at spamming infested Terrans, you have so good micro because you're doing it really fast." Like that's fucking retarded. And then what came later was the scroll trick, where you fucking scroll with this thing, right, the orange. And people call that micro because you're doing it insanely fast. That's what would happen to that ability, that you would actually scroll to lock onto
Oh, you
targets,
just have
and
to
it
be
would be
Couldn't-
super
what?
imbalanced.
No, that's not true. You wouldn't
That is
scroll
the
lock.
exactly same thing.
No, how would you scroll lock 10
think
different
you-
units with the ability? That's bullshit.
Because you
You
like
know that's
move the mouse
bullshit.
at the same time as you're scrolling.
It's not. It's like people say they would do that with force field. It's not true.
Well, force field, you have to target every, like, it's more important
Yes.
what the force fields, but with the
But
ability,
you-
it doesn't matter as long as it hits a unit, right?
Yeah, but you got to hit certain units. You won't just be like, okay, I'm just going to hit like 3 zealots, 4 stalkers, and this carrier in the back. You're going to want to hit certain units.
Yeah, but okay, so then
Infested Terrans, you just want to fucking drop them, like in one little segregated area. This, it's not like you're just going to have a point on the ground that you want to hit. You're going to have to hit a bunch of units that are constantly charging, blinking, or whatever. You know?
I think I understand. So like, you want the unit to be, for example, in a fight, the Cyclone attacks normally, and it does fine in a regular battle when it A moves. And then, if you're a really good player, you, for example, take a Cyclone and you target a High Templar and move it back. Or you target a other core unit and move it back, and that is the interesting part about it.
I just feel like it's like if the Phoenix right now could have super long range and lock onto Mutalisk, and I didn't have to click it, that'd be OP. The problem is that the Cyclone's range is fucking insane. And then it auto locks on as well. So literally you're just like right-clicking these units across the map and they're killing shit. When I'm fighting Mutalisk against Phoenix, of course it's the same concept, but I actually have to like babysit that fucking unit like no tomorrow. Like if I mess up at any second, I'm losing my units. Where the Cyclone, on the other hand, its range is so long, you're just like fucking brainlessly like just clicking one side of the map to the other, and it's just constantly like terminating shit.
No, you have to like stop an attack, like click
Wow.
A move. It doesn't have auto attack like Phoenix does.
But it locks on from like an absurdly long range.
Once you stop, then you click attack move.
I
then
think
they
the
lock
Cyclone
on.
actually has an auto attack though.
Yeah, it does.
Like if units moves within range, they're gonna attack because they're still. But as soon as they're moving around, like the remove command, then they're just like normal units. They don't lock on automatically.
No, but that's the point, right? They function as normal units, like firing in still position, unless you target fire. So like it's a decent unit if you don't target fire, and you can get a lot of value out of them if you target fire specific units with the range ability spray down of doom.
Yeah.
All right. I feel like we've covered everything. If you ask a question on Twitter, Reddit, I didn't answer it. I'm sorry. I want to plug a final thing before we go to the shoutouts and call it a day. Basically, we didn't cover this during the discussion, but this poll for the best design Legacy of the Void turn unit, this competition, the poll is ending soon. I'm not sure exactly when, but go vote. There's 5 entries that are really popular or really like good, and then there's funny ideas. Just go read. If like you're a nerd and you really like, you know, stats and so on, I'm sure more you've read some of them. Go check it out. I'll put the Reddit, the Team Liquid thread on in the chat, and just go vote if you know if you're a Terran and you want to see Terran go in the direction you think is the best. Then that's where you can make a change and be part of the Terran society, where lock-on should be autocast, and otherwise it's too hard micro, according to Mo. But anyway, no one's smiling. I'm sad. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching the show. Hope you had a lot of fun. We discussed everything and anything. We had a few arguments which were exciting and fun.
I want to spit on Morrow. All right, no. Well, we're gonna take it to Judge HuK. Who won? Oh, I won. Okay, you're fucking done.
All
be
right.
quiet.
All right, let's start with the shoutouts. Thank you again, everyone, for watching. Jona, what are your shoutouts? Where can we see you next? Stream, etc.
My stream is JersLol. I don't know why I ever took that name. Please forgive me. I can't change it. Twitch is retarded, so I'm stuck with it. You can follow me on Twitter, Jona, lowercase SC2. I tweet stuff about StarCraft. And you can check out my team, AT Gaming. That's it.
All right. Make sure to check him out for a great Zerg play. Mo, what about you? Where can we see you lose to Winter?
You can check me out at twitch.tv/Morrow. I think I will be streaming pretty soon. I'm using those Cyclones with the auto lock on. You can follow me on Twitter as well at PropMorrow, and that is it for me. Thank you for inviting me to the show, also desRow.
Yeah, no problem, dude. Love having you on. What about you, Chris?
I just want to clarify that if there's ever, like, Morrow's was 1 and mine was message deleted, so if you ever see a message deleted in chat, that's a vote for me, and I think I'm winning by now. What do you think,
banned
Morrow?
everyone.
Jesus, so many people got banned.
Oh my god.
What happened?
What a nutsy.
I hope those were timeouts, right?
Yeah, they were timeout.
Okay, good. So tired of all the PMs.
Anyways, yeah. Shout out to my team family for supporting me, the show, despite arguing with Morrow. I'm very grateful that he's on the show and giving the Terran perspective, no matter how skewed and wrong it is. Also, thank you to Jona for
I want to punch you right now.
thank you to Jona for
Thank you.
coming on, and I'll probably stream Legacy of the Void as well later tonight. But my stream will be very different than Morrow's. Morrow's will be smiling and right-clicking with the mouse with the cyclones, and mine will be probably crying the whole time. So check that out, I guess. And
That sounds fun.
good night, guys.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah. Big thanks to our Patreon supporters, the Supply Depots, the Panons, and the Overlords, Nightfallio, Lucid, and Zelazam, and Jackie as well. Didn't forget about you, Jackie Winky. And from me, thanks to my sponsor, Cheers for Gaming, Corsair, G2A, and Asus. Thank you everyone for watching the show. Just a little update. There's a Patreon. You can, buy a perk, come ask a question, do a call-in. We didn't do call-ins today, but next week they'll happen. The Liquipedia page now has all the list of topics. If you missed on a show and you're not sure which one to watch, well, find the topic you like and check out the show. Make sure to follow on Twitch. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube for all Remax updates and shows and everything. And thank you for watching. Big thanks to Base Trade also for hosting. And we'll see you guys next week. All right, you guys are